projects. I built a lot of them, a lot of past projects. I've done many things, and today I'm going to show you some of the failures that I have created in my past that I have not recorded. When I was younger, I loved VR, and I still do, and I always wanted to make my own VR headset. So when I was smaller, I came up with this idea of a gigantic VR headset. This VR headset was meant to be built on both video game and was meant to be run on also real life machinery. For instance, a robot. There was a camera that was built right here. It's all built in, and it could be attached to a real life camera. It could be attached to a virtual camera. Right here is the audio. It could be attached to the game audio, or it could be attached to audio that would connect to the receiver. It failed miserably. I couldn't connect it to the game, and it could only function barely 10 feet away from any of the audio devices or any of the camera devices. So it was terrible. Garbage. I tried again later on redoing VR, and it actually worked this time. This was my secondary VR headset. It only connected to gaming, and I made it specifically just to play Minecraft. So, as you can see, it was kind of a massacre. It was supposed to be completely wireless, be able to attach directly to the computer via Bluetooth, but it didn't quite function. The controller was completely wireless, but the headset itself, the graphics had to be hooked up through HDMI. I couldn't get wireless. I tried wicked hard. It just didn't function. So the VR headset itself used a radio control and also a secondary micro nano USB control, and it hooked up to the computer, and it allowed for this controller input to be put in wirelessly. But through here, I had to, I don't know if you can see that, but right here, that's where you had to stick in the HDMI cable, and it functions well, except I kind of just have this general box shape. It's not the really nice shape with the nose cone that you see. So, I was always thinking about doing more with this. If you want to see any more, go ahead and, I don't know, tell me in the comments, whatever. I thought, this is another huge failure. I thought I could jump high. So I decided to make basically like a stilt to try to increase my jump height. And it didn't work. I stood on it and it snapped. I have the broken one. And it basically just on one end snapped, and I couldn't get it to function ever. So here it is. I'm using everything that I have is basically 3D printed parts. I don't have the ability to make anything with metal. If I could use metal parts, it would be a lot cooler. It'd be way better to use metal parts. I tried it with this, and I thought, this isn't going to work. It's just going to break. It can't hold my weight, and there's no way that it's ever going to allow me to jump high with these springs. So I tried a different route. I went completely different. So my different route, I decided to go with this thing. It is... it's just a really big jump boot, except the problem is that there's so much friction from it being plastic and the lack of metal that it just didn't work ever. So basically, I don't know if you can see, but there is a giant spring in here weighted for like 150 to 200 pounds, sitting right in there. And when you put your foot on this part, you can jump and spring it down, and you should have been able to spring back up. This is the part that landed on the ground, and this material contracted inward, and everything's screwed up. It would contract inward, but there'd be so much friction that nothing really functioned. And so it came out looking bad. And that was it. It just did not really function as well. It kept bending forward, and I always felt that it was going to snap and break on me. So I kind of just quit on making a secondary one and seeing if I could jump. I think I could probably have jumped somewhat using this, but it took like 2 to 3 entire rolls of my PLA plastic. So this thing here, for it to not function, it was like $60 to build. That wasn't very fun. I also built the drone too. I built multiple drones, but this one's a smaller one and I can fit in this video. this guy functioned as well. And if you want to see a video of me playing around with this drone and making it work again, I will totally do that. But I wanted this drone to be automatic and be able to follow me, and I didn't get that. I was able to get it in the air and get it to hover, and it broke down. And you know, and ever since I haven't built any. I don't have any batteries for this thing. And the reason for that is because I was given to this in my high school, and I was allowed to keep the drone, but I wasn't allowed to keep the batteries. Before I made really cool robot arms, I made some really, really janky ones. For instance, this one. This was James Mark II. I will give you a comparison later of the sizes. James Mark II, I think you can see it there, was this giant hand that I built, and you know what? Bits of it are breaking off as I speak, and it was string controlled. You can see these strings here, and how if I were to touch these strings, they bend the fingers. It looks alive when I touch it, even though it's completely destroyed. The strings go through this metal, this plastic barge, and make their way down to these motors right here. And all these little motors, they all do their own spinning and things and all that jazz. And then it comes down further to this jumble of a mess. And I wanted it to be able to bend up and down like this to get arm movement. But I never was able to make it to arm movement. I never quite made it. And all this functions through Vex, which is what the school was using in high school to teach you how to build machines at the time. As you can tell, there are some very big differences between the hands. Normal bone hand, all nice and cool. My Mark, I think it's 6, Mark 5 or 6. Nah, this is Mark 5. No, this is Mark 6. Mark 6 versus Mark 2. Giant hand. Big, gloppy hand. Small, nice, delicious hand. Past me was garbage. Me now, cool. Finally, the first ever project that I built. I was in sophomore year, junior year of high school, and I was working with the Vex material that they had, but I just got into Arduino, and I found a website online that allowed you to take your muscle contractions and convert that into electrical movement. Now, I can do this very easy with some stuff from Adafruit, or things on Arduino, but I had no idea how to use any of this, so I needed a box that kind of helped me, and I had to jank the code from them on purpose because I've never coded before. So I built this, and it's been taken apart and scrapped for parts many years ago. And basically, it was just a little Vex machine that you stuck through your hand like this. It fit pretty well, man. Oh man, it fit so well. And when I contracted my arm, it would take readings from this machine. Well, not anymore. This machine was converted to something completely different later on. But it would take this machine, and it would read the muscle movements through here, and it would convert it to electrical signals. And all it would do is it would just open and close the claw. When I contracted my muscle, it would open the claw halfway. When I did a full contraction, full way, and then it would close when I rested. And that was it. And that's all it did. And I won the science fair with that. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked any of these projects, please tell me in the comments, and I'll go ahead and make more videos of them. Leave a like down below if you enjoyed this video, and you know what? Go ahead and subscribe. We're trying to get to 100 by, like, next month. Yeah, and end of this month. That's what we're going to do. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.